Spring is in many ways nothing short of a miracle. The sun makes its triumphant return to dispel the darkness of winter. New life pushes forth in the form of buds and seedlings, bunnies and chicks. It never fails to amaze me that something as tiny and as seemingly fragile as a seed could not only grow, but thrive. Today, the kids and I are specifically working on our tomato seedlings. As you can see, this is a family affair. Even my 3-year-old in her pajamas is helping to fill up cups of dirt so that we can up-pot these tomatoes. Now, I have a disclaimer I need to make. If you're a rule follower, this video probably isn't for you. In cooking and in gardening, I rarely follow the rules. But if you're a beginning seed starter who's ready to just throw off the inhibitions of rules and need some tips on how to start, then this, my friend, is a video for you. So today, while you watch my kiddos and I up planting tomatoes, I just wanted to share with you some of my favorite tips for starting tomato seeds. The seedlings we're working on today were planted about 3 to 4 weeks ago. Something important to know when you're starting your own tomatoes from seed is when your average last frost date is. This is easy information to find on the internet. All you have to do is type in the search bar, "When is my average last frost date?" and your zip code, and you should be able to get it. Then you're going to look on the back of your seed packet and you're going to look for a piece of information. That information is when to start indoors. Most seed packets, all of them really, should say when you should start them indoors. And for this particular variety, you can see that information right here. Now all I have to do is count back from my average last frost date to when the ideal time to plant is. You just need to remember that this is giving you the ideal time to start your seeds so that they don't get too big before you're able to plant them out, and also that you get the best head start. This does not mean that you have to plant them in that window. In fact, you could be 1 week out from your last frost date right now, and I guarantee you probably still have time to start tomatoes from seed. You might not get as big of a harvest as somebody who started them 10 weeks beforehand, but you can still most likely get a harvest. That's where the second piece of information you're going to look for on the back of your seed packet comes in. And that piece of information is days till maturity. Not all seed packets have this, but the good ones do. If they don't have this information on the back, you can Google the variety you're planting, and you can also probably find the information that way. For this particular variety we're looking at right now, it says that it's 65 to 70 days till maturity. So as long as you have that amount of time left in your growing season, you can still plant this tomato from seed and get a harvest. So even if you've missed that 6 to 10 week window, it's likely you can still plant tomatoes from seed and get a really good harvest. So I just want to make sure that you guys understand that, because I hear a lot of people talking about how they missed being able to plant tomatoes from seed because we're only 3 weeks away from our average last frost date here. But you haven't. You probably still could plant tomatoes from seed. It is not too late. My next tip is plant your seeds directly in potting soil, not a seed starting mix. People get really hung up on seeds needing some perfect magical medium to grow in, but guess what? Seeds were designed to be resilient. In the wild, often seeds are consumed by animals. They travel out the other side and grow where they land. Trust me, you don't need a magical seed starting mix to get those seeds to sprout. Every bag of potting soil I have gotten this year has been absolutely horrendous. And I did not get cheap potting soil. This is the organic good stuff, but it's full of sticks and not great at all. There's something weird going on with the soil this year. But guess what? My seeds didn't care. They still sprouted. Those little pieces of sticks didn't hold them back. They did what they were supposed to do, and those little babies grew. So don't worry about having that perfect seed starting mix. It actually makes it a little bit more difficult because seed starting mix doesn't have nutrients in. So you need to make sure you get those little babies up potted before they start to starve, or you're in big trouble. I actually did that the very first year that I seed started, and all my tomatoes died because I didn't up pot them in the right amount of time. So if you start in potting soil, you're going to save yourself a lot of trouble, and it's going to be perfectly fine in the long run. My next tip is keep your lights close to your seedlings. Whether you have shop lights or specifically designed grow lights, we have both by the way, keep them within just a few inches of your plants. This is really going to help you to get good, strong seedlings that aren't having to stretch for that light. Lastly, pot up. I sow my tomato seeds primarily 2 different ways. One, I will take a 6-cell pack and I'll plant 2 seeds per cell in that tray. And the other way, if I know I'm going to need a lot of the same variety, I will plant about 20 in a red solo cup. Either way, when the tiny plants get their first true leaves, I gently separate them and plant them in their own personal cup. You might think this would be a tricky or fussy process, but trust me, it's really not. Seedlings are hardy. My 7-year-old can do this all by herself, and she would do all of these by herself if I let her. All you need to do is just tease the plants apart and bury them up to their leaves. All of that buried stem is going to develop roots, and you'll have beautiful and strong tomato plants.
Did you do it?
You just want to put this in first. Look, we want to plant it up as high as we can to these leaves so that all that area has room to get we can even do farther down. Look, let's pour out some of this.
Here, pour it in here.
All right, more. Now fill it in with dirt.
Here, I'll hold it.
Appalachian sunrise meets my skin.
Yeah,
Even with my eyes still closed,
Wait,
feel
that's
it coming
You can probably
in.
plant.
Golden,
You can plant. Look,
I'll follow.
next time let's plant all the way up to like here, okay?
Alright,
Just a
all the
little
way up
tippy
to
top
the
sticking out.
Golden,
Yep, see how mommy did it here? All the way
Alright,
to that.
let's do that all the way.
So let's.
Can you get some out for me and I'll do that this time? Oh, where's my phone?
Ready? Ready?
Mount Laurel high fives for miles in spring.
There you go. Now you can.
Rainbow trout and hummingbird wing. Golden, I'll follow my golden. Golden, golden things.
This is a mess.
Gold hair, gold rings, gold leaves,
Should we have put it in this?
gold anything. Gold, I'll follow only golden. Golden, golden things. Walk up the river.
I know I said that was my last tip, but I'm going to give you a quick bonus tip. To get extra strong plant babies, keep a fan near your plants and turn it on every so often. I'll put mine on low every other day if I remember. Sometimes I don't even remember to do it every other day. This is really going to make your seedlings strong and resilient though. That resistance is good for them. It makes their stems strong. And lastly, I just want to reiterate, there are so many rules out there when it comes to seed starting. Some of them are good and some of them aren't. So don't get paralyzed by information overload. Just pick up some seeds and start. Experience is one of the best ways to learn. Here are my tomatoes about 2 weeks after we uppotted them. They are by no means perfect, but most of them are thriving. So if you are starting tomatoes from seed this year, I would love to hear from you. Comment down below with what you're starting, and happy planting, my friends.